Hello everyone, welcome to Here Goes the New World Order, because we're here with our second guest, which I'd like to thank Niall here, to come onto the show.
Well, thanks very much for having me. I'm excited to see what's in store for us today.
Yeah, because although it's been a while since I've been able to make a second episode, I am thankful, although we've completely changed situation from where we were this morning.
So we managed it.
Well, we managed it, and I'm thankful that you've decided to keep your patience and just be a reasonable human being for a change.
For a change, aye.
Well, I suppose it's not you that's been unreasonable, it's everyone else that's been unreasonable.
These things happen. Everyone's trying to make content these days, and to be fair, the studio should have been open, but here we are now. We're sat, we're nice, we're fed and watered.
Yeah, we're all good.
Ready to talk about this new world order.
Yeah, so when I'm on about this new world order, I'm on about not the conspiracy things we can't talk on YouTube. YouTube. Just about you. But we're actually talking about this whole new dilemma that, well, we, as we're both Scottish, what we see in Scotland and what we see in the world at large, because it's no longer a world where we can be isolated to ourselves and we can't just do our own thing and it won't affect anything. We're starting to see the world being more geopolitical now. And I would like to probably ask you, as you're a political activist, are you seeing, what changes are you seeing from everything that's going on, like in Scotland in general? It's maybe a bit loaded there.
Well, no, I mean, we'll be more specific about the changes. I mean, Scotland is on the road to ruin. There's no other way to describe it than that. Yes, the world's becoming more geopolitical, but I think there is a time and a place for a country like the UK that could silo itself off from the rest of this geopolitical world and almost just live its own sort of life. It's very possible that can happen. I think that should happen at one point. We can't allow all these different cultures to affect ours in a way that changes us so dramatically as who we are. But I mean, Scotland's a very unique example in the world today. We're in a political climate where we're not dominated by Labour or Tories. We've got the SNP in the mix up here too, so we've got like a sort of freeway spread that always ends up coming out basically bad for Scots. Every way we cut it, we're going to get bad governance every way.
What do you think makes it so bad being the SNP of all things? Because are they not the party of the people? They get elected every year and everything doesn't look so bad. Unless you, probably examine it. It doesn't look that bad when you go through, say, the ULEZ zone in Glasgow. It's like, well, maybe things aren't that bad. What TV telling me isn't that so bad, but they keep getting elected. So, what is it then? Well, I'm going to get a lot of loaded ones here.
This is again, it's a unique example. Scotland's unique in the world where they keep getting in because Scotland has historically had some sort of grievance with England, always, and there's always been, as far as I've lived, this like friendly banter between Scottish, English, Irish, Welsh, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that has now been turned into something quite insidious, where it's definitely Anglophobia, it's anti-English rhetoric that's being pushed, but at the same time it's more assigning this character of the Etonian Tory elite to all Englanders, as if everyone in England's some sort of Tory elite, where it's there's no difference between a working class family in Glasgow than in Liverpool or Manchester. There's zero difference, and yet it's this hatred of the Tories that's merchandised into Scotland's constitutional question being used over and over again, and George Garvey calls it never ending.
Yeah,
it's literally never ending, and they'll use it every election because that's how they're maintaining this 20%, 30% that allows them to get in and get power every time.
Yeah, and I don't think the lot that we're probably referring to is Nats.
Nats.
Or nationalists, Scottish nationalists, but they're not like the I'm proud to be part of this country, which I don't think anyone has an argument with. They're more of the I hate this other group because I'm just been embedded with this ideology to hate, like you said, Anglophobia and that.
Well, when we look at just the behaviours, right? It's quite malicious. Like I said, this friendly banter between Scottish, English and Irish, that has been totally turned to being really nasty. And I think as long as they keep driving the division lines in Scotland, they're going to keep continuing to win. You have to repeat the last question there. I'm sort of tailed away.
No, I can't do that myself. It was more this hatred, this bigotry, but then you've got these people who are just normal people who keep voting them in.
Yes.
Like, we've got this dilemma where you said it was the 20%. But I'm like, it's probably, I call them Nats because it's nationalists. So there's nothing wrong with being nationalists. We've all been nationalists in our own way. If you're British nationalist, English nationalist, it's when you extend that to the hateful bigotry that we start to see. But then you are right. I am getting to the question. But we do end up seeing the whole dilemma of Scottish politics turn into this anti-English, anti-Tory, anti-whatever SNP tell you to say.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who grew up in the 2014 and 2016 referendums. And looking back at it now, I felt like I was taken for a fool as a 16-year-old in the 14 referendum, but then told I was the bad guy for voting for basically the same thing in 2016.
Yeah, it's such a strange paradigm, right?
I'm referring to Brexit.
So 33 years old. I know you're referring to Brexit.
I know, but everyone else.
2014 rolls around in Scotland, right? I myself, I'm taken in by the SNP, and I vote yes. Alex Salmond, he's got me. Him, Jim Sillars at the time was going around saying, let's repurpose some of our vessels in Scotland and make them humanitarian vessels. I know, what a great idea.
Yeah.
And let's export Scottish aid to the world.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And over time, this, I really do think we're lucky that we got past this, because if the lies we were fed were allowed to come to fruition and we would actually get independence, I think we'd be in a lot worse position than we are now. But take the situation as I want Scottish independence, right?
Yeah.
Then why? Because this gets killed off straight away, right? In 2014, no's coming. Why then does the yes vote say, why did they not vote for Brexit? Which is a very similar situation to what they were asking Scotland to do. And yet they'll turn their back on people who voted Brexit when they're only wanting their independence. But you see what I'm saying? It is a weird paradigm. And then they'll use the Brexit vote as a material change in order to go back and say we need to do the vote again. The Scottish referendum, which makes zero sense. I think logically it makes sense that if you want Scottish independence, you would want Brexit too.
Yeah, because what you're wanting is to be an independent nation in its simple self. And I don't know how people get that so damn complicated. But it's like, what I think they've done is done into this mind soup of some sort, or mind mush, where they're like, I can't be sympathetic to the enemy of my ideology, so I have to say, although I want independence, which would, like, taken away from all the big dilemmas it would do, like come out of the EU, to come back to the EU, whatever they're wanting, like, it's almost built to something I've called the Braveheart mentality. And what I mean by the Braveheart mentality is it's based on such fiction that it's been taken on in such reality. So Braveheart movie, quite popular movie, big movie, influential movie, yeah. But half of the stuff was even real. Like the way half the movie is fictionalized, or a good bunch of it. The only thing that's relevant is the guy called William Wallace, and even I give some credit to how well they did the movie and how well the scenes are. But then, if you go and watch the newest, is it Chris Pratt? No, Chris.
Oh, like an Avengers film or something.
No, not the Avengers one. The one they did with Robert the Blues. No, the Scottish movie they did on Netflix.
Oh,
yeah.
Chris Pine. It was Robert Bruce. Or
yeah, it was Robert the Blues.
Yes.
And when you're looking at historians and any of us who are Scottish, we're like, that's the thing we're watching for. Like that's like everything was basically on detail. You saw a unique culture that was existing. The whole realistic drama of what the independence fight of 1315 was. And then you go to 1997's Braveheart, half of it's fantasy, all just to make these big cinematic moments like freedom and all that stuff. And what these people do is take a good normal conversation where it could be a legit argument on, say, helping the homeless, anything to do with help, education, so on. It just turned into this, we can use as a propaganda machine. But it's like we're achieving the fantasy world, but you forgot you were given a fantasy in the first place. Like it wasn't close to realistic what you were asking for. It was the fantasy world that you got. And now you're wanting to bring it to life, but you forget it was fucking fantasy. So it's like, you stupid. But I'm like, you can't call them stupid. You can't say this, you can't say that. But then that's just a whole other level of what we're going into politics in Scotland. Because I'll say personally, I am basically sick of Scottish politics because it's nothing more than two sides of the aisle bickering about the same thing, or if there are, it's so mind-numbingly dumb, like the Edinburgh cafe?
The Red Coat Cafe.
The Red Coat Cafe.
I'm going to go up there and picture myself there and support it and actually spend money in the place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just silly. It's been there for ages and they're just taking offence to it. But this is the type of thing that nationalists like to do. But I mean, going back to the sort of illogic behind the SNP, they want to divorce one union, the United Kingdom, break up a country, and not go independent. They want to marry another union. It's not, and surely that's a choice between basically the English or the Europhiles, right, or the European unity. So
elites. So
how can they possibly say it's not Anglophobic when you're literally you'd rather be wedded to the European Union than the one you're actually were wedded to with land.
Yeah, with land.
With land. So
it's and there's like before I end up making this too complicated. It's even like simplest of arguments. That'd be like, you don't like being told by Westminster what to do, which is on your land, but you want to further away continentalized government to tell you what to do stuff. I'm like, That's not independence.
Let's
That's just being a hypocrite.
let's not beat around the bush. I mean, the politicians in Scotland, the SNP party, they want a bigger pool of money to get their hands on. Westminster Port, they don't seem satisfied with that. They want to be in the European community, and it's all about access to money. It's all about being able to print their own money, and that's, I mean, the SNP, or that's their route. And they've always wanted it. They've always wanted to create their own currency. This is where they've always went. They'll always, no matter what material change, whatever change it is, they'll always push this mantra that Scottish needs its independence in order to escape the Tories. Even if the Tories weren't in government, they always need to create this enemy in order to vanquish. There has to be a boogeyman in order to something to overcome. And the whole philosophy behind Nicola Sturgeon's premiership, she's been like the archetypal mother of Scotland.
Right.
And this is what's happened is, because she's been mothering Scotland all this time, I mean, all the social services, all the families that depend on SNP. The SNP is the breadwinner in the family.
Mm-hmm. And now they're realising they can't actually do all the stuff they want to do.
So when you've got this caring mother type, she's providing all the money, she's she's the breadwinner in, I would say, 30% of families in Scotland.
Yeah.
This is the control mechanism that they've got everyone with. And the only way to break out the cycle of this mother archetype is to have the stern, strict father figure to come in and correct all the issues that this mothering and excess nanny state.
So this is Humza Yusuf.
No, Humza.
He's going to save us all.
If you look at Humza and you take the strict father type, then that's on you. But that's not what I get from.
No, it's definitely not.
He is a continuation of Sturgeon's premiership, even to a lesser extent. It's worse. The racial angles being used more. Every sort of division line and tactic that they'll use. I mean, Humza he's learned a lot from Sturgeon over the last X amount of years in government. He's using it against the populace right now.
Well, he definitely learned how to destroy the NHS.
Yes, he did.
Like, I've never seen someone who has basically failed at their job and then gets promoted to the top job. Yeah. You only get that here. Like, I thought, like, this is what I say to some of the English politicians, I'm like, or even voters, English voters, I'm like, you think your lot's incompetent?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you guys actually have some precision around you. I'm on about English, Tories, Conservatives, Greens, whatever you are. They've actually got some persistence and like, I actually do care. Mm-hmm. But these guys, and I'm saying this to the entire Scottish political class, none of yous fucking care.
Yeah.
And none of yous are really deserving any of your roles, and it's only just thanks to events you got to this position wherever you are.
And it benefits this political class in Scotland to maintain this status quo. Mm-hmm. It's brilliant for Lib Dems to just be able to criticise the SNP every now and again. Although they'll vote alongside them in all the votes, the hate crime law, they'll vote alongside them. The GRA, they'll vote alongside them. They'll pretend they're in opposition, and then the election time comes round. They maybe get 3 or 4 MSPs, they're satisfied with that. Well, the Tories seem to be satisfied, just sort of running on fumes.
Yeah.
And yet, Labour are just playing the tightest game in the world. They don't need to do anything. They can just sit, say nothing, and what they'll do is they'll win the next general election in Scotland by doing nothing. Guaranteed they'll do nothing.
They don't have to do anything.
They don't need to do anything because the SNP is on the way out. Like political gravity, it's happening. There's nothing can stop it at this stage. And this vote is transparent to Labour. There's nothing we can do about that. The issue is that we're just going to end up with SNP light. Labour's no the solution to Scotland. It maybe was 50 years ago, it's no now. The Tories, Labour, Lib Dems and the SNP are all, I call them the machine party or the robo-candidates, which sort of feeds into the New World Order, World Economic Forum, UN, control both. And it's Scotland's no unique in this case. I mean, the whole thing's happening right across the West. We're seeing stuff like Trudeau's becoming the model for us, I believe. You'll see all the same policies. Assisted dying's going through all across the West. The GRA is going right across all the West. So all these policies are happening in tandem to Western nations in order to sort of
it's in order to save us all, right? That's what
so
they
the
keep telling
greater
us. They're doing for the greater good of us all. Just like that thing from a certain country we cannot talk about.
Yes.
But if we're on about elections, I kind of want to jump to you again, because you went for the election, didn't you?
Yes, so, I mean, that's 2 elections I've been in now. So 2021, I ran for All for Unity with George Galloway, trying to put an end to the referendum.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to just last year, I was in the Rotherham by-election with the Scottish Family Party, and we done really quite well.
What made you jump from one party to the other? Because we all seen George Galloway, and half of us have a view on him. Any of us that don't probably just bought whatever the TV told us. So what made you change, say, I'm leaving that group to this group?
So with, I mean, the story goes, I mean, me and George Galloway were good friends. We campaigned really quite hard together in 2021, along with, I mean, All for Unity was a sort of ragtag groupie, like political activists all across Scotland that could set aside their differences, no matter if they're left wing, right wing, or even people like George Galloway can stand alongside me and say the same thing about killing the referendum. Doesn't matter. About these minor differences, we can put an end to what's happening in Scotland and move on. But All for Unity, why I moved after the invasion of Ukraine, our party fragmented. So the leader at the time was Jamie Blackett, and George Galloway was the deputy leader. So when the invasion of Ukraine happened, it caused such a fracture in the party that it was then split. And there was no, I wanted to carry it on. I was trying to become the leader of it and move it into a position where we could fight in another election. But during all this time where I'm making all the content for All for Unity, I am being approached by other parties of all stripes. And the one reason I've chosen the Scottish Family Party is, I mean, they came to me very, like the first time. Richard was, he met me just a month or 2 after the election in 2021, and we were talking about it. And at the time I wasn't sold in the Scottish Family Party. I really wasn't.
What made you not sold?
Partly because it felt like it was too difficult. At the time, I mean, joining a new political party, starting a new political party is such a massive endeavour that might, I mean, the fruits might not ever come to bear.
Yeah.
Never.
Especially one so small.
One so small, one so niche, or it felt like it was so niche at the time. And I wasn't too keen on being involved. It felt very Christian-centric to me at the time. And I wasn't too keen on going down this religious route, even though, upon reflection, it's not a Christian party at all. But it's what happened was I started to notice that the Tories and other parties, they were the exact same. And in order to break the deadlock in Scotland, it was the only way to do it was to have a new party. We can't go on this red, blue, or this SNP, Labour, tactical vote and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, I want a political party that I would like to vote for, that I would race at the door to vote for that I'm proud of coming at the ballot box and said I've voted for them because this is how I feel I relate to them most. They've provided me with the best vision for the future that I can take. That does not exist.
No.
That does not exist, my friend, and this is why we've joined the Scottish Family Party. So we can influence things on the ground floor and build something for the future that people actually want.
And when I saw you probably digitally, then I saw you in person a few times, was basically against this gender bill where men, vulgar men, could go into women's prisons, but now we're seeing this go, like, it's a very alien thing for this country to be doing to itself, but it's now going to the phases of trans acceptability to the extent of I will allow my child to be seeing pornographic stuff. Like, I'm not being transphobic, I'm just like, this is the extent we're going to. We're going the full 180 degrees and then a few extra 360 more and then keep going again and forget we even did the first one. And this has been a long trend of ideology that is very alien to all of us, unless you're looking at the ideas of communism and socialism, where this all kind of does stem from. Because it seems to be it's coming to its peak now, where it's just the whatever spikes up on the internet will be something absolutely vile. But you shot up in the social medias when it came to you joined the Scottish Family Party, but you were on about gender. And I'd like to ask, you stood up for the election in 2023. Labour won big time on that seat. No offence. You did well with over 600 votes. Quite good comparing to, I think it was 17 different parties that was going on at the same time. You were on about gender as one of the main priorities, as well as everything else. Because if anyone wants to look at the Scottish Family Party, they can just look at their website and realise they're quite a based Christian family party. It's in their name. I don't have to spell it out to people. But I kind of want to know, when you went on about gender, do you think that affected it badly or good for you?
It's a great question.
It's hard, I know.
I'm just, as soon as you've said, as soon as you said, did it make it more difficult for you? I immediately cast my mind back to campaigning on the street, where people are in your face, throwing your leaflets back at you, swearing at you, shouting you down, threatening you. Yes, it does make it difficult, but is it the right thing to do? Yes. The gender aspect, so we are going through, we are queering Scotland. This is what the education system, the education system is being used as a weapon against Scottish people. And I mean a weapon so sharp, so devastating, we could lose a whole generation of kids. So
we're seeing that in the global aspects as well. We're actually seeing a huge depopulation of the world's people, and that's not just to that one thing we're on about. There's so many other things getting involved, but we are queering the children into this very unhuman thing.
Yeah, well, you've used the perfect words in your opening gambit, alien. So the way it's an alien idea. This the fact or the idea that you can be born in the wrong body. This is an unnatural and alien idea. Without a child, without having that thought implanted in their mind, will never really come to the conclusion that they've born in the wrong body. It will never even cross their mind. But until that seed's been planted, or this is what the education system is doing, it's planting these seeds that then sprout. And when they do sprout, it's devastating consequences. They might end up on the list of the Sandyford on devastating puberty blockers, irreversible treatments.
Like Tavistock.
The Tavistock, which is thankfully then almost ceased operations. We've still got a Frankensteinian butcher shop in the Sandyford. You know, the drugs they're using, it's chemical castration drugs were used on teenagers here, and they want to call me nuts or an extremist for what I put an end to it. The gender thing, why do I focus and narrow in so much on the gender thing? It's such an obvious and BS lie. It's such a bullshit lie. There's nobody born that there's two genders, two sexes, no male. And if you're saying otherwise, you're a deceiver. You are into deception. You're trying to deceive. And if you're saying that to children, even more worse. But the reason that we focus on gender is if you think about all this overarching thing that's killing us, and everyone will call it different things. For people call it the matrix, and the matrix, the narrative. In order to escape the matrix, it's just we need to collapse the narrative. Escaping the matrix is collapsing the narrative. And when the gender aspect is, that's only one of the scams that's working in tandem. But it's the easiest one to identify. As soon as we can destroy one of these lies, the rest of them come apart. So
it shows how soft they are, the lies themselves. They're not strong, hard bricks. They're basically tissue paper.
They are paper tigers. I mean, the next one is the climate scam. The climate scam. Let's shut down. I mean, all the coal businesses, all the pollutants in Glasgow. Let's, in fact, just Scotland wide. Let's shut down all pollutants, all our factories, so we are carbon neutral. What does it matter when China's building a coal power plant every week?
Exactly.
What difference does it make if we shut down? We could, I've said it before, Britain could sink into the sea. It would matter nothing to the Earth's climate. So what are we actually thinking about here? What we might shut down our economy, ruin everyone's lives, ruin everybody's opportunities and their potential. For what?
And it's not like these ideas don't, like, you could be called, or you're conspiracy theorists for saying that, but you can look at the website and see Agenda 2030, 2035, 2040. Like, I don't know who actually voted for this in the public, because we mentioned independence, we were like, that had a legit vote. But no one's asking for this willingly. And if they are, they're getting thrown into policy where you're like, you did vote for it, but you voted for this as well. AKA Boris Johnson with his election of his massive win, where he said, you vote for me, I get Brexit done, but I'm going to add this little 2030 plan in here too. And you're like, shit. Shit.
I mean, the question becomes, I mean, can we have a leader in the West that is not corrupted by this? That's the question. Is there someone resolute enough? Because this is what it's going to take. It's going to take someone resolute, principled, that will not back down and that will not sell his own countrymen down the river. Because this is what's happening. This policy of shutting down the West and gifting all the manufacturing base away and just basically giving up on the global stage. Giving up
on itself.
Basically, you've sold your citizenry away. You've sold their opportunities. You've sold their livelihoods. And unless we can have some serious talk about what's actually going on in the future, we're going to be stuck. I mean, all of this global paradigm, and it really does, like, it sinks in. See, when you go through each individual bit, it really does, it weighs you down. But it's this weight as well that I think is like demoralising everyone. This weight of, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I get any politics, nothing's going to change. It doesn't matter if you start a new party, nothing's going to change.
If you keep that attitude, that'll definitely happen.
What I was asking for people to do during the last election was have the courage to vote out with the established parties. And this is all I'm asking us to do. And actually, that's all we need to have in order to break this paradigm, is the courage to vote out with them.
Because I've heard so many times within the last few years where we've actually had some kind of unifying force against, aka the Hollywood establishment, the UN establishment, the global establishment, and even the Westminster one. I am definitely condemning them as well.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, trying to find that one person who will break the barrier and say, I will not do this. Because people will say, Nigel Farage, he's been bought over more times than I could think about. The last one was the Celebrity Jungle. I could think about Lee Anderson, I could think about Boris, I could think about even Trump. But then again, there are people who are small enough who are willing to speak out, because you were damn strong when it came to the, the gender stuff. Vote for me if you want to change that. And I remember looking back at a video that was highlighted where you said, I'll fight for the community, I'll fight for that, and away from the SNP lot. And the candidate next to, I think it was the SNP, was like, and I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, I don't want to vote for you.
Yeah.
Not you, her. It's like, God.
That last hustings, the video you were talking about, is hilarious. So I've turned up to this hustings. There was only 2 live hustings during the election. And this time it's on camera, and I've managed to get the Green candidate and the SNP candidate flanking me on both sides. And little to my knowledge, that I didn't know where I was going to be sat, but in my speech I'm referencing the Greens and the SNP. So it's just worked to absolutely perfection that I'm saying, hold on a minute, let's just calm down. If we can't tell what a man and a woman is, what chance have we got? What chance have we got at solving any other issue that's got even a minutia of detail?
If you can't get that one done.
If we can't get that one done, we may as well just pack up and go home. And it's just, I made a thing about the student politics of the SNP. But it's just good to have them huffing and hawing right next to me, because they've never heard somebody like me just give it to them. And to say the things that I was saying, like I want to rip all the rainbows off the wall. Day one, if I was elected, I was going into every school in Rutherglen and Hamilton West and taking all the rainbows off the wall. Apparently that's extreme. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And the rhetoric's no extreme either. Our schools have got such a problem with, one, indoctrination, but two, the indoctrination is causing most of the young boys that I've met in your campaign, you're talking, I don't know, I'm between 12 and 15, young teen lads. They don't fall for the gender nonsense.
No.
And yet, they're at school and they're telling me, and I'm saying, well, do you respect the teacher who's telling you this? Absolutely not.
No.
Why would they? And why would they respect another word that this teacher says if they can't get them right on one thing? So it causes like a breakdown in teacher-pupil communications and respect. The violence in schools is increasing because we've no discipline, we've no control. We just say, well, maybe you should have reacted to that situation a bit different. Maybe you should speak about your feelings a bit more.
Let's be nice and soft.
Just
be loving and godly, and everyone be happy, just like they do in the fucking fantasies.
It's
like in a film. Sorry for swearing, but it's literally. It's like, come on, what world do you live in? But then I'm starting. See, I used to be more, it was the government's fault of everything going bad. But I'm like, no, people have to take responsibility for this as well. And people heat on me all the time for this, mostly online, because they know they can hide themselves underneath some stupid picture. Where they're like, you can't blame them, you can blame the government for this, government for that, this thing and that thing. Yeah, but where are you coming around to say, I don't agree with this, apart from the 5 figures you see online with the 100,000 followers? It's like, it shouldn't be up to that person to tell you what to think.
No.
And I'm like, no. The way things should be now is like, well, we are going to see a backlash to all this eventually, but I'm just wondering which way this goes.
Which side will the coin land?
The pendulum swing back on itself, but then what does back on itself do?
The pendulum is swinging back in our direction. It's coming away from the woke, more towards, I don't know what, this is the opposite of what woke would be, probably just normal behaviour.
Normal families,
yes.
normalisation. We had this in 2012, because I would have said, I would call this the woke era.
Yes.
I would have said from the start of this date would have been Obama's speech of accepting the LGBTQ, his speech to that, to the 7th of October, because it was just the peak of all this, what was going on from everything to, I'll have to say it, Rochdale, Rochdale, lockdowns, COVID, referendums, votes, Trump.
Yeah, we've went, but
like we went so far in that time.
You think about how quickly that acceleration is, right?
14 years, basically.
Yeah.
14 years have gone so by, and how fast it's all went.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on here? But then I feel sorry for, I don't know if it's, I feel sorry more for the children or the adults who basically still live in ignorant bliss to all this and say, well, family member said to me that, well, why do you care? Does it matter? It's like, of course it flipping does.
Yeah.
It's like, you want your kids being taught how to watch porn? Because I'm like, I swear to God that's something the educational system in this country has done.
They teach on masturbation methods and stuff like that. I mean, the school system's lost its mind.
So they do teach you how to masturbate.
Well, it's, and it's a great thing, and it should be celebrated. And it's not avoiding it. It's not maybe don't look at this material. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. And if you got any problems, teacher will help. When we're talking about this acceleration, this period of time we've went through, we've been shuffled from one situation to the next, to the next, to the next, without even having a chance to breathe. And it's this, with this lack of breathing space,
it's
allows everything to happen.
Yeah. And I think that ended on October 7th, where you could actually see, I'm not going to mention it, see what happened in a certain country away from here, where you literally saw the same day people celebrating 1,200 people being killed and then claiming of genocide when it happens to them. Don't lose a fucking war, that's what I'm saying. But it's like, that was the pivotal point where you literally saw the two sides of the coin. Like, you saw those two sides of the coin, and I think now we're only getting a backlash properly to this now, but we're still going to get the idiots. We're still going to have at least 5 years of recovery from this. Yeah. But I think we're building better characters now, though.
It's going to be more than 5 years, I think. Just the sort of emotional trauma that this generation of kids went through. And still, you're probably talking 10 or 15 years before it corrects itself.
Because I'm forgetting about lockdowns and everything.
The lockdowns, I mean, all the teachers and early care practitioners that I've spoken to said this wave of kids that come after the lockdowns has been unlike any they've ever seen. And when we're talking about critical points in humanity's history, the lockdown was the most pivotal point for me. That's when I said, no, this is it. This is where I decided, no, this is where we get political, because this is end of days type stuff.
Yeah.
There's no way that I was going to be forced to stay in my house. I did not comply with lockdown. I was encouraging other people to disobey lockdowns. I did not take a vaccine. I was encouraging people not to take the vaccine. Right or wrongly, that's what I was doing. And I will not be told by Nicola Sturgeon, who was First Minister at the time, that I'm irresponsible for not taking a vaccine. For not taking a medical procedure. I'm not going to be told that, and I think she should be up on high crimes for this.
And then they put the Crimes Commission on her, and she basically, I forgot everything. What the fuck is this?
I can't recall. And we've got all this stuff with the the WhatsApp. I mean, the COVID inquiry. The lockdown was just slow and breathe now. The lockdown was when the Titanic hit the iceberg. The economic damage that the lockdowns caused is this costly lockdown crisis we're in now. They'll call it the low cost of living crisis. When you go on the shops and you're seeing everything's gone up £1, £2, £3, that was the lockdown. Yeah. That was the lockdown. It's got nothing to do with Ukraine. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's got everything to do with all the money they printed and inflated. That's it, plain and simple. Yeah. And I won't have anybody else try to piss on me and tell me it's raining and tell me otherwise. So that was when the economic damage was done. That's when I got politically activated. The vaccines, that's another story. The COVID inquiry is just finished. Yeah. COVID inquiry is just finished. I didn't take my vaccine. I know a guy, Alex Mitchell and John Watt, two vaccine injured guys that I've met. Alex Mitchell, he took the vaccine, AstraZeneca, had to get his leg amputated. He got his leg amputated, and he was the first living person in Britain who will be awarded compensation for a vaccine injury. Thank God. Right? Why did I not see him at the COVID inquiry? Why are they not asking him how he felt? Yeah. Why are they not asking him, do you think it was fair in Nicholas Sturgeon to call people irresponsible for not taking a vaccine that resulted in you losing your leg? We're backwards. Yeah. The thing is, Alex Mitchell, the vaccine injured, he's too uncomfortable a conversation for humanity to have himself. Yeah. Just visually, him having one leg and you knowing that it's happened with the vaccine. Yeah. He's the invisible man.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of cases where people have had, well, their own got killed from said jab and amputated arms, legs, body parts to the extent of just madness, and you're like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Go and tell that to the boy with the leg gone.
Conspiracy theorist is one of these terms that, just like racist, it's been watered down, it's been overused,
it's a murdered word.
Totally gone.
It's a
murdered word.
Murdered word. Like, murdered words are just exist now for more than anything else. And we're coming to an age where we're just like, we know exactly when the reference comes. We don't need to think too much about you when this comes. Yeah. It's like, we know you're using the word, but we know it means no value to us. But we are building a backbone against it, though, which is a good thing.
We're getting, I think we are getting a backbone. We are sort of becoming more outspoken, but we need more voices. I mean, in the interim between campaigning for elections and stuff, I've been trying my best to lead Scotland to the back. And I mean, what else are you supposed to do? We've not got a leader in Scotland. Oh, we have got a leader. It's just he's leading us in the wrong direction. Yeah. He's leading us in the opposite direction we want to go. So here I am at the back, thinking, how am I going to drag Scotland away from this guy? So, you know, we just go right after him. Yeah. We just go right after him. We capture him at a fringe event, and we just swear at him. We just. I knew that was going to go viral before I done it.
He did this, by the way.
He done this. Yeah. He made me who I am by doing it. And the reason it's went viral is every person in Scotland wanted to tell him to F off.
Yeah, just never did.
We need more of it, or else we're going to be stuck. All the politicians in our government now, the Tories are, I mean, it's so sad that, I mean, the Tories are the best of the bad bunch in Hollywood. They didn't vote en masse for GRR. No. They didn't vote en masse for the hate crime bill. They've been speaking out. I mean, there's a lot of good eggs in there, but it's just that Scotland's just never going to vote Tory.
I know it's like how much have you destroyed the system so far? But I guess I kind of have to end it quickly on a good note, in a way. What's basically going to be in your future for next few years at least, because you got the energy there, and you're still quite a good political activist, and you're still passionate and care. are you going to go for elections, or what are you planning to try and do in the next few years? See, if you can, unless they get...
If we're being realistic,
yeah.
I mean, we just got... we didn't get crushed in the by-election, so the by-elections went so heavily in Labour's... for Labour because people have been tactically voting to get the SNP out. Even though Labour have overused this fact that, in order to get the SNP, you're going to have to vote Labour. And then what's happened, they've actually doubled or tripled their vote count almost.
Yeah.
There was no need to transfer the vote to Labour, but they've capitalised on that messaging. If we're not going to be able to win any seats in the general election, Scottish Farmer Party, not at the moment. We're likely to win a seat or two in 2026 with the Holyrood election. So we're going to put all our eggs in a basket, maybe one or two areas in Scotland for the next Holyrood election, get Richard Lucas in. And then we've got one voice as strong as Richard's, that will breed more. And either Tories will come to us, or the Tories, even if they change their messaging, if they change the direction, if we can change the conversation enough in our favour, that's enough for us. We don't need total power and total control, we just need to move the conversation or just drag the pendulum back in our favour. As far as political activism goes, I'll always be on the lookout to embarrass politicians, to catch them out, and to go after them and to hold them to account. I feel like there should be more in me, but
there's not.
I don't understand why. It's no brave. It doesn't take that much courage. It doesn't take that much money. It's just sometimes it's difficult when you feel like you're the lone warrior against a whole government. But again, it's leading to the back. Somebody has to do it. There's nobody there. There's nobody there to do it. You have to do it yourself. And that's what I suppose I've done. The next few years will be try to maintain sanity, because obviously in the more insane world that the SNP is going to create for us, we need to keep our heads. We need to encourage other people to speak out. And generally, we just need to keep plugging away, and we will win the fight. We can't lose the fight. It's a marathon. The way me and Richard describe it is 2 years ago we've started to climb in Everest. We're not even near at base camp. 2 or 3 years, we're not even nearly there. Maybe 2026 we'll get halfway up. But we need to start climbing. Somebody at some point needed to start climbing to build this new party. Otherwise we'd be in this rut forever.
And I would say on that last note, a little bit of optimism then.
Yeah, that's good.
I would like to thank you for coming onto the show. It was great to get you on, even at the time and everything else we've been suspended so much. It's good to get someone on probably the same political level that's not scared to talk.
Well, this is probably the better note to leave one, is that I'm not afraid of getting things wrong. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. We are human, after all. The only thing that I know is that I know nothing.
Okay. That's
that's the best way to say it. Like, everyone is afraid to put a foot wrong, especially politicians. You didn't hear anyone talking about just normal stuff like cups of tea or whatever for their dinner. They all feel like that every minute has to be choreographed. No, it doesn't.
No.
Grow up.
Think about it. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been watching the episode, and we will see you in the next one of Here Goes the New World Order. We'll see what the next guest will be. We'll see you later. Goodbye.